you, but it was just 2 years ago that we were in the same room or same garden for our orientation. I remember coming here and feeling awkward and a little nervous. I had never gone to an Ivy League school before. This was my first time living in a city. And sorry, David, I hadn't finished reading The Power Broker. Then we had to do these introductions, where I realized I was about to take classes with some of the brightest people I had ever met. We had Fulbright scholars, Peace Corps volunteers, and people who would run city agencies. Then to top it off, I had to make a speech in front of you guys at the Constitution Center. It was, in short, a pretty terrifying experience. A lot of you guys have been asking me today if I've been nervous about coming up here. Well, the truth is, I've been terrified. That orientation that we had, it was almost 2 years ago. And a lot has happened since then. But the thing is, when I look out at all of you guys here today, I'm most of all very grateful. Because looking into this audience, I'm not just seeing some of the brightest, most accomplished people that I know, but some truly amazing friends. Our friendship was created through a lot of memories, some better than others. You know you're from the 2015 cohort because TG will never have the same meaning again. Your favorite prom memories are not from when you were 18. And every now and then you find yourself craving those Ukrainian cookies. Thank you, Vera. Things weren't always rosy, but even after losing several key members of our faculty, we kept our class together. We organized the events we wanted, from barbecues and house concerts to some of the most widely attended conferences and forums on this campus. We even just recently created a new student group. And while some of you are still baffled by the Affordable Care Act and forward swaps, whatever those are, we somehow made it through our classes as well. Yes, even statistics. When I reflect on these memories, one in particular stands out, the before and after Fels speeches. For the sake of the baffled guests in this room, this is a sort of Fels rite of passage. It's where all of us have about 10 minutes to share a little bit about ourselves. Like, oh, you know that time when Lucas started his Brazilian nightclub. But more importantly, the before and after Fels speech is where we talk about what brought us here, what inspired us to come to Fels. Everyone has a unique story, which makes sense since we're from every part of the country and from every part of the world. But all of our stories have one thing in common. Whether it was during our childhood or a few years ago, we all had this realization that there is something fundamentally wrong about the world that we live in, and that we had to do something about it. For Mary Kate, it was when you realized that your beautiful students were cheated by an unfair system even before they could learn to read. For Flora, it was when you saw that your friend wasn't able to go to university just because of one test score. For Akeem, it was racial inequality. For Lucas, it was the destruction of the environment. And for Maikisha, it was the poverty that you saw right here in Philadelphia. For me, this awakening happened on another college campus. I have to admit, I grew up privileged. I had wonderful parents, who I hope you'll get to meet today, who provided me with everything that I needed and often more. So it wasn't until I went to Seton Hall University, right outside Newark, New Jersey, that I was first confronted with inequality right in my own home state. Our campus was literally surrounded by an iron gate, a daily reminder of the divide between my privileged classmates and the surrounding community. These are some of the realizations which brought us to Fels. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been 2 years, and in truth, things haven't gotten much better. And some might say, things have gotten worse. Just ask Vera about what's happening in the Ukraine. Remember Ferguson and Baltimore. And consider that income inequality is higher than it's ever before, not just in the US, but around the world. And if that's not immediately apparent to you, when you leave Penn's manicured campus today, walk a few blocks. Walk into parts of Philadelphia where over half the population lives in poverty, where half of the children don't know where they will get their next meal. And then, yes, you will see that our work is cut out for us. we are about to get a diploma from one of the most prestigious universities in the country and probably in the world. For some of us, our diploma will even have Latin letters to symbolize our academic achievements. But here's what I want you to remember. That expensive piece of paper that we've worked so hard for, that some of our parents will frame and maybe even cry over, it's not enough. Your diploma is not enough. It may sit on your office until you forget that it's there. Then one day it might move to an attic, and eventually it will fade and decompose like the flower petals which we swept away for today's ceremony. People will forget the diploma, but people won't forget what you do with it. Today we celebrate the hard work we've accomplished so far, but the harder work starts tomorrow. At some point along this journey, you will question whether you are up for the great challenges that you've decided to take on. Change will seem too far, too out of reach. Maybe some of you even have those doubts today. But whether it's today or 10 years from now, we will not give in to doubt. When we feel crushed by the weight of cynicism, we will keep ourselves afloat by remembering the mission that brought us here today. We will keep moving forward because we know that the fight to make the world a better place is a lifelong pursuit which we all share in. And we will remember that this is worthwhile because in the end, you can make a living by what you get, but you make a life by what you give. And finally, when it feels like you're the only one doing good out there, when it feels like you're fighting this battle alone, remember the words that a wise woman named Eileen has on her office outside her door at Fels. The world is full of good people, but if you can't find them, just be one. Congratulations, class of 2015.